students, welcome to all of you. In the last class I told you about clauses. What is a clause? As you know, clause is a group of words containing a subject and a predicate. There are two types of clauses. They are main clauses and subordinate clauses. What is a main clause? A main clause contains a complete meaning and a subordinate contains incomplete meaning. Okay. So if you work hard, you will pass. Take, for example, you can take that sentence. If you work hard, you will pass. How many clauses are there in that? If you work hard, that is a clause. You will pass, that is another clause. So the clause if you work hard is incomplete. So it is an incomplete clause, dependent clause or subordinate clause. You will pass contains a complete meaning. You will pass, that clause can stand its own. So that is a complete clause. So that is a principal clause or a main clause. Okay. Now we can focus on subordinate clauses only. For time being, you can leave main clauses. Take subordinate clauses only. So you know that subordinate clause is incomplete in meaning because of the subordinating conjunction we use at the beginning. There are three types of subordinate clauses. What are the three types of subordinate clauses? They are noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. I will repeat: noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. Okay. So we already discussed noun clauses in the last class. Now we can move to adjective clauses. Adjective clauses are also called relative clauses. Okay, keep in your mind, adjective clauses are also called relative clauses. Okay. Now we can go to the functions of adjective clauses or relative clauses. An adjective clause functions as an adjective. Functions as an adjective. What is the function of an adjective? Adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. Okay, for example, handsome boy. Handsome boy. Boy is the noun and handsome is the modifier. What type of modifier? Modifying noun. So that is adjective. She is beautiful. She is a pronoun. Beautiful is used to modify that pronoun. So adjective modifies either a noun or a pronoun. Then what about adjective? Adjective clause. Adjective clause is doing the same function. Adjective clause is adjective itself in the form of a clause. Okay. So an adjective clause modifies either a noun or a pronoun. Then why adjective clause is named as relative clause? Why? Because it relates. An adjective clause relates nouns or pronouns to the sentence or in the sentence. Okay. A noun is related or a pronoun is related using what? An adjective clause. That is why adjective clauses are also called relative clauses. Now, all of you know that adjective clauses are subordinate clauses. A subordinate clause will be incomplete in meaning. To make a clause incomplete, what we should use? What should we use? We should use a subordinating conjunction. For example, you work hard. That is a main clause. If you work hard, that becomes a subordinate clause because of if. So such a word, such a conjunction must be there at the beginning of a subordinate clause. Okay. So in adjective clauses, we use some words like that to begin the adjective clauses. So we can examine which are those words. Relative pronouns. All these are conjunctions. All these are conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions we are using. But separate names are there. Relative pronouns. What are the relative pronouns? To start, what? Adjectival clauses. Adjective clause or adjectival clause or relative clause. Okay. We can start with that or which, who, whom, whose. And some relative adverbs also we can use. Relative adverbs. What are the relative adverbs we use to make adjective clauses or relative clauses? Where, why, when. To conclude, we can say, we can start adjective clauses with these words, relative pronouns as that, which, who, whom, whose, or using relative adverbs like where, why, when. Okay? Now we can check some examples. This is the first example. Tom, who is a doctor, is my friend. You see, what is the noun used? Tom is a noun. See? What is the adjective clause used here? Who is a doctor? Who is a doctor is an adjective clause. Why it is an adjective clause? Because this clause modifies Tom, supports Tom, or gives more details about Tom. Tom, who is a doctor? Who is that doctor? Tom. Tom, who is a doctor, is my friend. Okay. So Tom is my friend. Which Tom? Who is a doctor. Okay. So who is a doctor is a clause. Why? Because there is a subject who stands as a subject in this clause. Is a doctor is a predicate. And this whole clause is used to modify or to say something more about Tom. So we can say who is a doctor is an adjective clause. And this is a relative clause. Okay, adjective clause or relative clause. Why this is a relative clause? Because who is a doctor? This clause is used to relate Tom to this part. Is my friend. Or relating this word Tom in this sentence. Okay, so this noun relation or noun specification is done here using a clause that is an adjective clause. Now we can move into the second example. What is the example? The book which I bought is expensive. The book which I bought is expensive. What is the adjective clause used in this sentence? Which I bought. The book which I bought is expensive. What is expensive? Book. Book is expensive. Which book? Which book? Which I bought or that I bought is also okay. That I bought. So which I bought or that I bought, this part is used to specify this book or modify this book or to give more information about this book. What is used? One whole clause is used. Instead of using one adjective here before this noun, instead of using one adjective before the noun, here after the noun, one clause is used to modify this noun. That is why we say that this is an adjective clause. Okay. Now there is one more thing that I have to tell you at this time, that Tom is the noun used here. What is the adjective clause? Who is a doctor? Tom, this noun, is called antecedent of this adjective clause. Which noun or pronoun is modified? That noun or pronoun is called antecedent. Antecedent means coming before the adjective clause. Coming before the adjective clause. Okay. And for this antecedent, what is used? This clause, following clause is used. The book. Book is the antecedent here. This is a noun. Antecedent may be a noun or a pronoun. For this antecedent, one clause is used, which I bought. Okay? So which I bought is an adjective clause or a relative clause. Okay? Now we can write some more examples. Okay? A child. A child. Child is the antecedent. This is a noun. So we have to compose an adjective clause here. For child, what is the relative pronoun or relative adverb we will use? Child, we can use who. A child, who. For a child, we can use that also. Baby, that. For child, that also we can use. Child who. A child who cried louder. A child who cried louder was brought by a woman. See, a child who cried louder was brought by a woman. What is adjective clause? You can check after the antecedent, after child who cried louder is an adjective clause, okay, or a relative clause. We can write another example. The book, okay, you know that book is a noun form. The article is used to determine this or specify book, the book. What is the conjunction we can use? Either relative pronouns or relative adverbs we can use. The book, that or which. The book, that or which. We can use either that or which for book. The book, that. I bought the book that I bought yesterday. The book that I bought yesterday is expensive. You see this long sentence starting with the book that I bought yesterday is expensive. So what is the adjective clause used here? That I bought. Okay? One relative pronoun is used to start this subordinate clause. Okay? Relative clause or adjective clause is a subordinate clause. That is why this word that is used. That I bought. The book that I bought. Which book? That I bought. The book that I bought. So that I bought yesterday. That I bought yesterday. Yesterday also can be included in this. That I bought yesterday is giving specification to this noun form, book. Okay. So a clause that gives specification on a noun or a pronoun or modifying a noun or a pronoun is an adjective clause. Okay. Now we go to some more examples for adjective clauses. You see, Tom, whose mother is an engineer. Tom, whose mother is an engineer, left for USA. You check the underlined part. Whose mother is an engineer. That is an adjective clause. Why? Because that clause modifies Tom. Tom, the name Tom is modified or specified using an adjective clause, using a clause. Whose mother is an engineer. Left for USA. Tom left for USA. Tom's mother is an engineer. That is why Tom's mother, that is why whose mother. This is possessive. His, instead of his, whose. Tom, his mother is an engineer. Tom, whose mother is an engineer, left for USA. So, an adjective clause or a relative clause comes here. Okay, now move on to the next example. The reason why he cried is unknown. The reason why he cried. The reason is a noun form. Just like Tom is a noun form. As in the second sentence, reason is a noun form. This noun reason is modified using why he cried. The reason, what type of reason why he cried, is unknown. means not known. We don't know why he cried. So why he cried is an adjective clause and it is started in why. Okay. Now the next example. It was Kottayam where I met him. It was Kottayam. Kottayam, that's the name of a place. Name, that's a noun. Where I met him. Where I met him. Kottayam, where. A place is modified using where. Reason is modified by using why. A noun Tom is modified by using whose mother, his mother, whose mother. The possessive is used there. Whose mother. Word is used because this word, okay, is a place. Okay. It was Kottayam where I met him. So we already know that we can make adjective clauses using relative pronouns or relative adverbs. Okay. What are the relative pronouns? That, which, who, whose, whom. And what are the relative adverbs? Why, where, and when. Okay. Now, there are two types of adjective clauses or relative clauses. Two types of clauses are the adjective clauses. Okay. I have mentioned here on board restrictive relative clause or essential relative clause. The second one is non-restrictive or non-essential relative clause. Okay. Restrictive or essential. From this word, very word essential, we know that it is necessary. Necessary relative clause. Necessary relative clause means what? That is necessary in the sentence to convey the complete meaning. Convey a sense. We need that in the sentence. Okay, it should be inbuilt. We cannot remove that. If you remove an essential relative clause, what will happen? The sentence will lose the complete sense. I will write one example. You see, you can go through this example. The novel that I read yesterday is interesting. What is interesting? Novel is interesting. Which novel? Not all the novels. Which novel? That I read yesterday. This is the adjective clause or relative clause used here. This clause is rating this antecedent. What is the antecedent? Novel. This antecedent, novel, that's a noun form, is modified using a clause, using a relative clause or adjective clause. That I read yesterday. If you remove that, what will happen? If you remove, throw it away, don't take. Then what is the remaining part? The novel is interesting. The novel is interesting. Does it make a complete sense? The novel is interesting. Which novel? We don't know. How many novels are there in the world? In different literatures? So the novel is interesting means who will understand the full meaning of that? If I say you or if I tell you the novel is interesting, which novel? So the novel that I read yesterday, that is specific novel. That particular novel is very interesting. So what is interesting? The novel that I read yesterday. That I read yesterday. This part is essential in this sentence to convey complete sense. Otherwise, there will be confusion or the sentence will be senseless. Complete sense will be missing if we remove this clause, this adjective clause. That is why this adjective clause is essential in this sentence. Necessary, essential, and it is restrictive. It is restrictive. We cannot take it away. It must be there as inbuilt. Okay? So, restrictive or essential relative clause. That is the first type. Now I will write another example. Macbeth. Tragedy or tragic play. You see this sentence. Macbeth, which is written by Shakespeare, is a tragic play. What is adjective clause? Which is written by Shakespeare. Which is written by Shakespeare is a modifier in the form of a clause. So this is a modifying clause. This is modifying a noun. So this is an adjective clause because this is doing the function of an adjective. Okay, relative. Macbeth is related using this clause, relative clause. Okay. Check if we remove this, what happens to this sentence. Remove that. Which is written by Shakespeare. Okay. What is the remaining part? Remaining part, Macbeth is a tragic play. Macbeth is a tragic play. Meaning is complete. Sense is complete. Macbeth is a tragic play. If you tell somebody Macbeth is a tragic play, you are conveying a complete meaning. There is no need of this clause which is written by Shakespeare. It is not essential here. It can be fixed to give an extra information. Okay. This clause gives an extra information. That extra information may be important, but it is not essential. It is avoidable. We can avoid. The meaning will not be injured. Meaning of the sentence will not be hurt or injured. Okay. So this is non-essential. To check whether an adjective clause is non-essential or essential, the way is that we remove that for time being and read the remaining part. The remaining part is Macbeth is a tragic play. You read the remaining part, and if you get a complete sense, and if sense is not injured, you can say that this is non-essential. This is non-restrictive. Okay? So here, this clause is not essential. So that is non-restrictive or non-essential clause. Or there is another name for this, that is non-defining clause. First one is defining clause. Restrictive clause, essential clause, or defining clause. This is non-restrictive clause, non-essential clause, or non-defining clause. Okay. So there is one important thing that you have to keep in mind while fixing a non-restrictive clause. What is that important thing? You must put a comma. Before starting the non-essential clause, put a comma after the antecedent. Here the antecedent is Macbeth. Macbeth, comma. Written by Shakespeare after the end or at the end of that clause, again one comma. So two commas should come on either side. Means non-essential clause is clipped or fixed in between two commas. Okay, this is sandwiched in between two commas. Okay, Macbeth, comma, which is written by Shakespeare, comma, is a tragic play. Okay, this comma, two commas are very important in non-restrictive clauses. Okay. Now we are coming to the last type of subordinate clauses. We know that there are three types of subordinate clauses. What are they? Noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. We have already covered noun clauses and adjective clauses. We are coming now to adverb clauses. Adverb clauses. So we should focus on what is the function of an adverb clause. An adverb clause functions as an adverb. Adverb clause functions as an adverb. So what is the function of an adverb? An adverb modifies a verb, an adjective or an adverb. Okay? An adverb or adverb clause modifies a verb. Prominently, an adverb modifies a verb. Sometimes an adverb will modify an adjective. Sometimes an adverb or adverb clause will modify another adverb. Okay, that is why these things are given, functions are given. Okay, so anyhow we know that this is an adverb. Adverb clause is what? An adverb in the form of a clause. Okay, we can see subject and predicate in an adverb clause because it is a clause. What is the function of an adverb clause? To stand as an adverb, to modify a verb or an adjective or another adverb. Okay, now we can go to some examples. You see the first example. I helped him because he is my close friend. I helped him. What is the main clause? Complete clause. I helped him. This is the first part in this sentence. That is a clause. That's a main clause. Why is a main clause? Because the meaning is complete. It is independent. We put a bar here to separate another clause. Because he is my close friend. Because he is my close friend. Is it a main clause? No. This is not a main clause. Why? The first word, because. Okay. This is a subordinating conjunction. A subordinating conjunction will make the following clause a subordinate clause, incomplete clause. So, the second clause, because he is my close friend, is incomplete. It is dependent on the main clause for the completion of the meaning. Understood? So, because he is my close friend is a subordinate clause. Now we should check what type of subordinate clause it is. Whether it is a noun clause or adjective clause or adverb clause. What is the function of this clause? I helped him. Why? Why helped? You ask the question why. What is the reason? You ask this verb, what is the reason? What is the reason for which you helped him? Or I helped him? What is the reason? What is the reason of the action to happen? Or for the action to happen? This is the reason. Because he is my close friend. The reason is given in a clause. So this is an adverb clause. Because this clause is saying something more or giving more details about the verb. Why the verb happened, or how the verb happened, or when the verb happened, where, etc. Or on what condition the verb happens. Okay, or what manner in which the verb happens. Such things are defined or narrated or explained using adverb clauses. Understood? So, the verb is specified here, modified here. Okay, so modification is possible using a clause. That is an adverb clause. Why it is an adverb clause? Because this is strengthening or modifying a verb. Okay, now we move to the next example. What is it? As they are poor, they cannot buy a car. As they are poor, they cannot buy a car. What are the two clauses? How many clauses are there? How many sentences are there? This is a single sentence. One sentence. Single. Okay. Single sentence may carry different or many clauses. Not simple sentence. Single. This is a single sentence. From the word as up to the word car, the single sentence. This is a single sentence. In this sentence, how many clauses are there? We check the clauses. When we check the clauses, we know that as they are poor is the first clause in this. They cannot buy a car is the second clause. In these two clauses, which clause is main or complete? The clause that starts in subject. For example, as they are poor, What is the first word? As. Is it a subject? No. What is the subject in this clause? They. Subject is placed later. What is placed first? A conjunction. Subordinating conjunction is placed first. So this is a subordinate clause. And again you check the meaning. As they are poor. Is the meaning complete? No. As they are poor, meaning is not complete. So that is a subordinate clause. That's an incomplete clause. That's a dependent clause. What is the main clause? They cannot buy a car. They cannot buy a car. That's the main clause. Because meaning is complete. What is the first word? They. What is it? Subject. A clause has started or clause is started in a subject. That's the main clause. The meaning is complete. So we check the subordinate clause now. What is the subordinate clause? Here, the first clause is a subordinate clause. Okay. As they are poor. What is the meaning of that? And why that clause is used? What is the function of that clause? As they are poor, they cannot buy. They cannot buy. B-U-Y. They cannot buy a car. Why? Why they cannot buy a car? Because they are poor. This is also indicating what? Reason. As they are poor. Since they are poor. As or since. Okay. Reason is specified. Reason of what? Reason for the action in the main clause to happen. Okay. There is an occurrence in this. Buy a car. That is occurrence. That's action. Okay, why this happens or how this happens, when this happens, okay, or on what condition this happens, okay, why this happens? As they are poor, so that is modifying this verb, okay, so the word verb is modified or further enforced with another information. That information is passed using an additive clause. So, as they are poor is an additive clause. Okay. So, additive clause comes first in this sentence and later main clause. But as when we go to the first example, I helped him, main clause comes first. Okay. In any way it is possible. Both the ways it is possible. Means we can start with the main clause as I helped him. If you start with the main clause, keep in your mind, if you start with the main clause, we have to put a comma. Okay, put a comma here after the end of the main clause or at the end of the main clause. Okay, I helped him, comma, main clause, comma. Why I helped him? What is the reason by which I helped him? Because he is my close friend. Because he is my close friend is an additive clause. Okay? And as for the second sentence, as they are poor, that is additive clause. That is a subordinate clause. Okay, additive clause is a subordinate clause. Third type of subordinate clause. So if subordinate clause comes first, there is no need of anything. No comma. No need of comma. It can be continued without putting a comma. No need of comma in between these two clauses if subordinate clause comes first. Here subordinate clause comes first. Without comma we proceed, we continue. They cannot buy a car. Okay, so now I think that you have got an idea about what is additive clause. Okay, so I confirm that additive clause is the last type of subordinate clause. How many types of subordinate clauses are there? 3. Noun clauses, adjective clauses, adverb clauses. This is the last type. Adverb clause functions as an adverb. What is the function of an adverb? To modify. So adverb is a modifier. Modifying what? Verb, adjective or another adverb. Okay? Now we can come to the specification of adverb clauses. How many specifications are there? How many modes are there in which we use adverb clauses? Okay, so there are 7 specifications. Adverb clause of time, adverb clause of reason, adverb clause of place, adverb clause of contrast, adverb clause of choice, adverb clause of condition, adverb clause of purpose or result. Okay, so time specification. is fixed using adverb clause of time. What are the subordinating conjunctions to use for this? After, before, once, since, until, when, whenever, while. One of these subordinating conjunctions can be used to make an adverb clause of time. For example, after. Now we can make one sentence using after. I reached the railway station. I reached the railway station. I reached the railway station after the train had left. After the train had left. So after is used to make an adverb clause of time. I reached the railway station is the main clause. I reached the railway station. That is the main clause. When did I reach the railway station? After the train had left or after the train had gone. So after the train had left is what? An adverb clause of time. Like that we can use before. Okay. The train had left. The train had left, that is the noun main clause. Complete sentence is there for that. The train had left before I reached the railway station. Before I reached the railway station, the train had already left. What is the first action happened? Train left. That is the first action happened. So that is why it is used in past perfect. The train had left before I reached the railway station. So before is used to compose an adverb clause of time. In the same way we can use once, okay, since, until, when, whenever, while. Such conjunctions also can be used to make adverb clause of time. Adverb clauses of time can be made or composed by using these subordinating conjunctions. Now we move on to reason. Adverb clause of reason as, because, since. There is a reason why it happened or why it is happening or why something has happened. As. Okay, I will help you as you are my brother. I will help you is what? The main clause. Why I will help you? Why? On what reason? That is adverb clause of reason. On what? On what reason I will help you? I will help you because you are my friend. That is the reason that I find or I see in helping you, or for the reason, as a reason to help you, I see you are my friend. Okay, so as you are my friend is an adverb clause of reason. In the same sentence we can use because also. I will help you because you are my brother. I will help you since you are my brother. Okay, all these words as, because, since, all these words show reason, and these words can be used to make adverb clauses. Okay, adverb clauses. Fine. Now we move on to place. Place related words are were, were. Okay, I don't know where he kept my spectacles. I don't know where he kept my specs. Specs means spectacles, eyeglasses. Okay, I don't know. Where means in which place. Okay, and we can even use the name of a place. For example, I went to Mumbai, where I met my friend. I met my intimate friend. I went to Mumbai. That's the main clause. I went to Mumbai. Sense is complete, meaning is complete. I went to Mumbai, where means in that place I met my intimate friend. Okay, so where I met my intimate friend is adverb clause of place. Okay, now we move on to contrast. Contrast means opposition. Difference is there. Two opinions or two things are not matching. We say there is contrast. Okay, for example, he is poor. He is poor. Somebody is poor. Can a poor man buy a car? But he bought a car. He is poor, but he bought a car. These two are not matching. These two concepts are normally not matching. That's why we say that there is contrast. He is very poor. Then he bought a car. He bought an expensive car. Okay, so we can use although. We can't use a but because but is a coordinating conjunction. Okay, we need a subordinate conjunction. Adverb clause is a subordinate conjunction. So we need what? A subordinating conjunction. But it's not a subordinating conjunction. So instead of but, we can use a subordinating conjunction, that is although, that takes the same meaning of but. Although. Although he is poor. Although he is poor, he bought an expensive car. Somebody bought an expensive car. So he bought an expensive car is the main clause. He bought an expensive car. That's the main clause. Although he is poor is the subordinate clause that is in the form of that comes in the mode of additive clause of what? Of contrast. Okay, although we can use a subordinate conjunction, though, even though he is very poor, he bought an expensive car. He is very poor, whereas he bought a car. Whereas he bought a very expensive car. Okay. Choice. Choice means this or that. This or that. We are not sure of that. That is what is choice. We can use either if or whether. I don't know if he's a doctor. I don't know if he's a doctor. There's a choice. I don't know if he's a doctor or not. The choice is there. Not. Doctor or not. We don't know. In place of if, we can use whether also. I'm not sure whether he will come on time. I am not sure. That is main clause. I am not sure whether he will come. Somebody will come on time. Okay. Exact time. Don't know whether he will come or not. There is choice. And again, condition. Okay, this usually we use condition. More examples we can make for conditions because these are usual words we use in our everyday life. If, unless, provided that. Together, provided that. Okay, if. Okay, so here in choice if comes and in condition also if comes. How if is used in condition? If you work hard, you will pass. If you work hard, you will pass. So you will pass. That's the main clause. Because the meaning is complete. You will pass. Okay. But on one condition. What is the condition? You must work hard. Okay. If you work hard, if the condition is there. So that is why we say that additive clause of condition. That condition must come true. The condition must come true. Or the condition must be realized. Then only the fact that is mentioned in the main clause will happen. In the main clause, you will pass. That must happen or that will happen if the condition comes right. Okay, we can use unless. Unless means what? If not. Unless is the negative of not. Negative of if. Okay, if we add not with if, we will get unless. Unless you work hard, you will not pass. Unless you work hard means if you don't work hard, you will not pass. Unless you work. If you don't work hard, if you don't means unless. Unless you work hard, you will not pass. So you will not pass unless you work hard. Means if you work hard, you will pass. Okay. Now provided that. Okay, you will pass. Provided that you must work hard. You see, you will pass. That's a main clause. You will pass. Provided that means if on condition, you must work hard. That's the condition. Provided that. Okay, I will help you. Provided that you pay me or you give me money, then I will help you. That's another sentence. I will help you. I am ready to help you. Provided that means if you give me money for that, for my service. Okay, fine. Now we come to the last one, purpose or result. Purpose, so that. Okay, so that I earned some money so that I can buy a car. What's the purpose? I can buy a car. I earned some money. That is now main clause. I earned some money. Main clause because the meaning is complete and we say that is main clause and there is a purpose for that so that I can buy a car or in order that I can buy a car. Okay, so these are the 7 types of adverb clauses. We can make any type according to the mode. According to the mode, we have to use the subordinate conjunctions and there will be sentences there. We have to connect the clauses. Okay, 2 clauses will be there in a sentence and we have to connect the clauses using appropriate subordinating conjunctions. So while choosing appropriate subordinating conjunctions, we have to thoroughly examine what type of mode is given, whether it is contrast or time or place or whether it is reason or purpose, whatever is given accordingly. So that is why I say that we have to observe the sentence and see what is the appropriate subordinating conjunction to use what is the appropriate subordinating conjunction to use to make adverb clauses of these types. Okay, dear students, I have given you all the details about clauses. Now it is your turn write more sentences in each type of clauses. Thank you.